morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio, so today we need to have a look at Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, the cards from Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, and we need to have a look at what's happening to them, their prices over in Japan, because basically, well, the set's been out for like a week now, and what we generally expect to see when they've been out for about a week is we expect to see the prices dropping pretty hard. We expect to see these prices coming down to a far more sensible range of values. That's what we would generally expect to see. So maybe we should go and have a little bit of a gander. Has Miriam calmed down? Oh no, ladies and gentlemen, Miriam has very much not calmed down. In fact, as a whole, pretty much across the board, the prices have not calmed down. I sat down today and I'm like, right, well, let's have a little bit of a look at what's happening to these prices. Do a little prices are crashing video. Oh no, ladies and gentlemen, these prices are not crashing, and we need to start looking at Miriam, all right? Because if anybody out there played Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and went, you know, I really like that Miriam, school nurse, always seems cheery, I'm going to make a Miriam collection if we ever get any Miriam cards. Oh, I hope you've got a very big wallet and very deep pockets, because last time I showed you this Miriam, the price was 61,800 yen. It has now gone up to 74,800 yen. We have seen a significant increase in price of this special art rare. And what we're seeing here is $575 or £465. We don't see many cards that go in at that kind of price. It doesn't happen very often. As a general rule, the vast majority of cards tend to fall upon release or shortly thereafter, and most cards do not get up to 75,000 yen. That is an absurd amount of money. It keeps climbing. So what about the other Miriam? Oh, that's all right. I tell you what. Let's not bother with the special art rare. Let's go for the full art. Well, last time I showed you it was 41,800 yen. That has actually fallen ever so slightly to 39,800 yen. Now, don't get me wrong here. You're still talking about $305. You're still talking £245, a little bit of rounding to make things easier. We're still not looking at cheap cards, all right? We are very, very much not looking at cheap cards. But whereas a special art rare has absolutely exploded, that has not been the case for the full art. The full art is still a ridiculously expensive card. It is still the second most expensive card in the Scarlet and Violet expansion as a whole, don't get me wrong, but it's not gone quite as silly as a special art rare. And then the number 3 card we saw before was Miraidon. Now, Miraidon, last time I showed you, was sold out at 31,800 yen. We've seen a modest uptick to 33,800 yen. Here you're talking $260 or £210. No rounding needed. And this is, I mean, look, there's a couple of things going on here. First of all, it's a box legendary. Everyone likes the box legendaries. Secondly, the artwork here is just absolutely full-on, proper job, over-the-top stunning. And we've also got a very, very playable card. And special art rare pull rates are very low. You don't get one per box, and there are a bunch of different ones. So, a lot of things going on and really adding up. Obviously, Miraidon's got that redonkulous ability, lets you search for 2 basic lightning Pokemon and bench them. And it's a use it, not when you play. So you can do it turn after turn, or you can, play it straight to the bench and still use it. There's a lot of cool things you can do with this. And that's why this one is holding. This is the coolest version of maybe the best card one of the best cards in the game, it looks like. And it must be pointed out, and this is very important, all 3 of the cards I've shown you so far are from Pokemon Violet. Now, I entered the lottery over on the Pokemon Center, as I always do, trying to get one of each box. And I was lucky in the Pokemon Scarlet lottery. I've got a box of that coming. I was not lucky in the Pokemon Violet lottery. I do not have a box of that coming, which is definitely the wrong way round, it turns out, which is a little bit sad. But you will see the price of Pokemon Violet boxes is spiking, and this is the reason. I'm now torn between trying to pay and to be fair, in Japan, you can still get boxes for 80 quid, which is, I'll be honest with you, it's approaching treble retail now, but it's still cheaper than the resellers over here that have still got stock. Or whether, because what I'd want to do, I want one of every card. And it's getting to the point, I could just buy one of every card rather than buy a box. I won't have any of the secret rares, but generally speaking, there's a decent chance you get a bad secret rare anyway, so I could just buy the cheapest secret rare, one of every other card, and I would still pay less than a box, so I might just end up doing that. But what about outside of them? What about the other cards? Well, Gardevoir was one that was making some waves last time we saw it. People were loving Gardevoir. Last time I showed you it was 25,800. Now it's 26,800. And I know, I am fully aware that this is one of those where it doesn't seem like much. It's a very, very small increase. It's still sitting there at $205 or £165. It's still a very, very expensive card. But the actual increase we see here is very, very modest. It's very small. But we need to take this in the context of we were expecting a drop. When you're expecting the price of cards to be dropping and we see a small increase, that small increase becomes way more relevant and way more important because actually we're in a situation where, fine, it's gone up by 1,000, but usually we would have expected it to go down by a few thousand. So it's not really gone up by 1,000. From what we were reasonably expecting, it's gone up a few thousand. And this is a trend that we're seeing going on. The alternate art of Miraidon, it's no Miraidon, both in terms of playability and all of that. It's not the same, but it's still a very cool card. Last time we saw it was sold out at 16,800. We now see it in stock at 18,800. So again, we've only seen a small increase, but again, we're still at $145 or £115, so it's not like it's some kind of super cheap bargain. And this is the problem with people like myself trying to buy boxes, especially if you don't have a nice friendly local Japanese store you can just pop along to. They're becoming very, very awkward because the singles are going up so much that it's proving kind of, hard to get the boxes because if too many singles jump up in price, so do the boxes. Now, Penny, I showed you before. It's an Okacheke artwork. Now, this is in Scarlet, so I'm desperately hoping that's in my box. Last time I showed you, we were looking at a card that was 13,800 yen. Now, it's 16,800 yen. Again, it's a 3,000 yen increase. But to be fair, that's still pretty significant. This is now a $130 card or a £105 card. Yeah, it's not cheap anymore. Well, it was never cheap, but it's getting more and more expensive. It's going the other way, and people love Penny. The last time I showed you Penny, it was 16,800 yen, the full art. It's now 14,800 yen. And for those of you paying attention, you may have noticed that of the cards I've shown you so far, there are exactly 2 of them that have gone down in price. Which 2 have gone down in price, you say? You've forgotten? The 2 full art supporters. And my inkling here, and I can't prove this, obviously I can't prove it, it's an unprovable thing, but my theory here very simply is, we've got the special art rares. And the special art rares make the full arts way less exciting. So what we're essentially seeing here is the price of full arts dropping because people are so into the special art rares, they're just not as excited about the full arts as they used to be. And, the people who really want the big fancy versions are now going after the special arts, which is letting the full arts drop a bit. Again, I say drop a bit. Remember, both these cards are over £100, so it's not exactly like they're getting super cheap. And the last one I want to mention here nice and quickly before we finish is Nest Ball. Now, last time we had a little bit of a chat about this. I showed you Nest Ball was 13,800 yen. This one's actually holding. It's holding at 13,800 yen. Remember, there is an older version of the gold Nest Ball you can use instead. And let's be clear, gold Nest Ball is still not exactly a particularly cheap card. 13,800 yen, that's what I said it was, wasn't it? Yeah. So 13,800 yen, you're still talking $105, you're still talking £85. We are not talking about cheap here. But this kind of fits the model I've been laying out for you here. Your special art rares, both in terms of Pokemon and supporters, are starting to go properly silly. But the full art supporters and your gold Nest Ball, we're not seeing the same kind of thing here. People in Japan are clearly telling us, look, we like these special art rares. These are the ones we're getting excited about. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen, that's what's happening. It's not what we would usually expect to be seeing in a set like this a couple weeks after release, or week after release. But that's where we are, and I'm going to be tracking this over the next few months, and if interesting things happen, I will, of course, let you know. For now, I just want to know what you think in terms of which of these cards are coolest, which ones you want, which ones you pulled, and anything else you feel appropriate. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wasi. That's where we talk Pokemon and card games and Pokemon card games, all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus pods, join a Discord, and chat about anything you like. And you can get shout-outs on the channel, like the lovely Faye K, who is one of our biggest supporters at the moment and seems to be a very lovely person. So thank you very much for all the support, and for being a very lovely person. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.